hold up, I am on my way.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jill. I tried filming this in my kitchen. Of course, there's a million people in my kitchen because that's what happens when you have 6 roommates. Anyway, today I made Rachael Good Eats Fluffernutters. I think I'm saying that right. I always say butternutters, fluffer. It's fluffernutters. Can you see what's going on right here? Stop. Thanks. It's not poisonous to cats, don't worry. Anyways, I made Rachael Good Eats Fluffernutters, and I have the recipe on my phone and I just doubled it because last time I didn't make as much. And every time I make these, I made them at the beginning of quarantine too. Every time I make them too big and they're huge. So I just have to get better at that. But it was 1 cup of peanut butter, 1/2 cup of maple syrup, a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 1/3 cups of almond flour, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I mix that all up and then you shape them into balls and then press the balls to make out like a lattice shape with your fork, and then bake them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll assemble them together. Okay, so while we wait for my cookies to bake, I asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram and you certainly delivered, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer those questions now. And I have my coffee with me, so cheers to the metal straw and the hot coffee. Okay, favorite snacks. My favorite snacks are Perfect Bars. I have a whole fridge full of them and I have 1 a day. I really like pretzels. I really like PB&Js. I really like smoothies. Smoothies are snacks for me, they're not meals. So don't feel pressured to have a smoothie as a meal. It can be a snack. Smoothies really are not meals. So those are my favorite snacks. Is TJ's your favorite grocery store? Yes, Trader Joe's is my favorite grocery store. What's your favorite thing that Dan makes? He makes the buffalo tofu on my Instagram really, really well. Spoiler, it's not me that makes it, it's Dan that makes it. I've tried to make it. I do not make it as well as he does. So I also really like when he makes me coffee. Is that bad? How to work on increasing weekly mileage without injury or burnout. In my experience, this is something that you should do on a month-to-month basis and a year-to-year basis. So every year I would work on increasing your mileage, every month, if that makes any sense. So it's not a week-to-week thing. It's not 1 week you run 20 miles a week, the next week you run 30 miles a week. It's month-to-month and year-to-year. What are your goals for the off season? Definitely to lift a lot of weights and work on building a lot of muscle so I can really use power at the end of long runs instead of just relying on my pure will and mental strength. Do you plan to move back to Boston ever again? This is something that Dan and I talked about a lot. When we left Boston, we kept thinking, we'll be back, it's fine, this is just temporary. But honestly, now I'm at a spot in my life where Dan and I both don't really think that we'll ever move back to Boston. We will for sure visit. A lot of our friends are back in Boston, so we will be back to visit, but at this point in our lives, we definitely don't think that we'll be moving back. Favorite sibling? Nice. What is your job? Well, I'm studying to be an EMT, so in a couple months I'll have my EMT certification if everything goes according to plan, and I will be an EMT, and then from there the plan is to go to med school or PA school. Yeah, so for right now I'm a server and I make some money on Instagram, which is crazy. I never thought that that would even be in the cards for me. Do all your siblings live at home? For a while it was just my brother and his girlfriend that lived here, and Dan and I. My brother and his girlfriend were living here until they moved into their new house, so they just got their new house. So for right now, I'm the only sibling that lives at home. Yeah, it's a little less cool when that's the case, but my younger sister is in college, older sister has a house, and my older brother has a house as well. So right now, I'm the only one at home. What college did you attend? I went to Northeastern University in Boston. What did you major in? I majored in business and media, which is funny because I want to go to med school, so. Favorite baking recipe? I really like, I think maybe cookies. Yeah, cookies are, I know the science, I know the baking time. I like making cookies the best. Favorite holiday flavor? Maybe cinnamon? I don't know. Cinnamon? Starbucks order. My Starbucks order is really simple. I just get pike roast with light almond milk and then I add a stevia in there. It's really basic, but pike roast is so good. I just can't not get pike roast. And I always drink hot coffee, by the way, fun fact. Even if it's 100 degrees, I will be drinking hot coffee. Favorite protein powder vegan? I use the Orgain protein powder, which is really good. I also really like Aloha protein powder and First Form. Favorite protein bar vegan. I don't eat a lot of vegan protein bars, but I do like the Go Macro ones. I think those are vegan. And when I was vegan, maybe like 4 years ago, I ate the no cow bars, which are pretty good. Okay, one of the most common questions I got was, how tall are you? And then I asked you guys to ask me on Instagram a little while back how tall you think I am. And I got a lot of 5'12", 6 foot, 5'11" responses, which I'm very flattered, but I'm 5'9". I guess I look tall, that's good. How many calories do you consume and how do you determine the right amount? I eat at least 3,000 calories a day. When I was training, I ate obviously more. That's what works with me. I worked with a registered dietitian to figure out those numbers. Tips to run on the treadmill without boredom or pain. If there's pain, I would look into that with a doctor. There might be something else there. Boredom, put on a really good show or a really good podcast. Yeah, that's what works for me, is just being distracted. And for really long runs, I like to think about breaking the run up. So if it's a 9-mile run, I think, okay, I'm at mile 3. That's a third of the way there. And you know, that kind of thing. That was a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. Have you always had a good relationship with food? No, I've had a really bad relationship with food up until this year, I'd say. I struggled a lot with under eating, and it led me to become severely underweight. I lost my period for a couple years, and then I struggled a lot with binge eating. And finally in 2020, the one thing that came out of 2020 that was good was I definitely repaired my relationship with food. Marathon training plan recommendations. And then also, how did you find your training plan for your marathon? All my marathons, I use the Hall-Higdon training plans, and they're good to an extent, but I kind of started to outgrow them. So now I actually just hired a coach, so I'll be working with a running coach to make my plan. So I would either say invest in a running coach, or Hall-Higdon is really, really good. Did you run in high school or college? No, I didn't run in high school or college competitively. I started running in college just on my own when I decided to start running marathons. Yeah, I had never run more than 8 miles in my life, or maybe like 6 miles, and I decided to run a marathon. And that's where everything started, and the rest is history. Okay, so my camera's about to die and I'm about to run out of space on my camera, so that's all the questions I have time for. Okay, here's how the cookies came out. They look so good and a lot smaller than the last time I made them. They're still kind of big. I don't know, it's hard because they definitely expand when you press on them, but I think they look pretty good. And then I'll stick these together with the combination of maple syrup and peanut butter. Okay, so I have the peanut butter and maple syrup mixture here, and I just put them together. So they look like little fluffernutters. They're so cute. Check out Rachael Good Eats blog. She has so many good recipes on there.
Hold up, I am